components of the president's speech this morning, that some of the actions of people who choose to block the roads with trucks because they are reacting to what they consider an injustice, but in the same vein inflicting pains on millions of people, that those kind of actions don't represent NATO. I think we want to put all of this out on a continuous basis. That said, let me convey the very best wishes of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that of our President, President Muhammadu Buhari, and that of the staff of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing to you all as you convene at this annual general meeting. Some of you might recall that in my maiden press briefing as Minister of Works, Power, Works and Housing then, I recall, in 2015, I believe some of you were invited, and I pointed out at the time that the budget we inherited for roads across Nigeria in 2015 was a budget of 18 billion naira. That's what we met to build all of Nigeria's roads. But the Buhari government in 2016 immediately changed that. The budget went from 18 billion to 260 billion. If you do your calculation, my math is not very good, you will be seeing an improvement, an increase of over 1,400%. That was at the time the price of oil was going down. President Buhari government was committing to spending more on infrastructure. And you will see, if you look at our budget since 2016, there is not one year that I think you will find a budget in the Ministry of Works and Housing where we have committed less than 200 billion naira per year. And so this is what has changed from 18 billion. But even 200 billion is not enough. The Abuja to Kano Expressway alone is going to cost over 700 billion naira. So, what has the president done again? He has initiated supplementary and complementary funding. One of them was the Sukuk. And I remember when we got approval to start the Sukuk, some sections said, oh, he wants to Islamize Nigeria. You remember? So the Honorable Minister of Finance and myself got together that what are we going to do about this Sukuk? I said, okay, let us apportion the money equally among the 6 zones of Nigeria. When everybody has a equal share, then we now invited the zone that did not want it because it was Islamization money to come out and say they don't want. And the rest is now history. The Sukuk impact, I think you can tell the story better. Your drivers can tell the story better. It is making an impact. But the president didn't stop there. He promised that he was going to engage and reduce corruption. So he set up the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund. And that fund, largely, first of all, monies that were not accounted for. Our income dividend from the NLNG is in dollars. He put it in that fund. Then he went outside Nigeria to start begging that please, all of the monies that have been removed from Nigeria, can we have it back? And he started bringing some of that money in. Those are the 2 large components that make up the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund. That fund is now being applied to 3 main projects. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which your drivers use. Is it better than 2015 or is it worse? I can't hear.
It's better.
Thank you very much. The Abuja-Kano, is it better or worse?
Better.
Second Niger Bridge, is it better or? So I think it's important to just situate all of this very slowly. And of course, the last and perhaps significant intervention was a partnership with the private sector to say that we know you are going to pay taxes, but can you put those taxes into infrastructure in advance? And a few companies who saw the policy, one of the first was Alhaji Dangote and his group, they said, look, the Apapa-Oworonshoki Expressway is affecting our business. We will commit our tax to this and we will recoup it later. And they did it on Obajan Akala, and they are committing to other roads now. Is the Apapa-Oworonshoki better or worse? It doesn't seem that you are sure.
No, it's better.
Maybe you want to give an applause to the president. I don't know if you feel like it. And others have joined. MTN has joined. They have taken over Enugu Onitsha now. GZ Industries have joined. They have taken over some roads in Abia. NLNG has joined. They are connecting Bodo to Bonny for the first time in human history. You'll be able to drive from Bodo into Bonny, where the gas thing is. Now, but another group, now that the PIA has been passed, NNPC is now a private company in essential, owned by so many interest groups, including the federal government. They are saying, oh, we have tax liabilities too. We do haulage business. We have to distribute petroleum products. The major asset by which we distribute is not in very good condition. We too want to invest so that we can do more business. We had phase one, which your president talked about. And those who use the Bida, Axis, Niger State Axis, Mina to Suleja, is it getting better or is it getting worse?
It's getting better.
So, but that was 692 billion. But just last week, another 1.9 trillion has come into roads. Your president spoke about it. Maybe you didn't listen to him. It's 44 roads covering over 4,000 kilometers that is now committed. So whether President Buhari is there or not, this commitment is already on a sustainable path. What this means is that there are clearly manifest investments in roads and bridges, and they are now either completed or under completion, under construction. Now, it is interesting, we operate in a political environment, and we have clearly contestants who want to fill our shoes. We have those who have become cynical too. And even our opponents now are wishing that they had done what we did when there was more money. Because you will hear them now say, hey, why, now, even though they completed it, we started it, why didn't you finish it? So, because of these investments in infrastructure, they grudgingly acknowledge that this government has invested in infrastructure. But they then say, oh, and the economy. But I say they are doing home economics. They can't connect infrastructure to real life situations. Yesterday, the president was in Lagos to open perhaps yet our biggest port ever. If you can't connect that infrastructure to the economy, then you have no space in the public place at all. You don't know what political economy is all about. We have 5 new airports being upgraded, runways being expanded. You have rail opening up, road networks expanding. If the second Niger Bridge was built by another African country, our opponents would have celebrated it more and be using it to abuse this country. But it's happening in their own country. and they have no value for it. All they are busy doing is what is wrong with it. But perhaps you as businessmen, as entrepreneurs who own trucks, have better understanding and better value for what this means for your businesses. Because you are employers, aren't you?
Yes.
And without infrastructure on road transport, how well can your business do? Hello?
Yeah.
So, some of their supporters may be here. They should go and tell them that you say that without infrastructure, your business won't do well. Because some of them have said you can't develop the economy with infrastructure. I beg to disagree. They are wrong. They must never come near power.
100%.
Now, what does road construction really do? Maybe I should help. It brings businesses for your trucks, not so? In terms of haulage. It brings employment for your drivers who have families, not so? So, for me, what this investment means that this government has done, one thing that it means to me is that you are not invincible to this government. It means that this government actually sees you. It means that this government recognizes the investments that you made. And this government has committed by investing in infrastructure to ensure that you reap the maximum possible benefit for your investments in truck ownership and truck operation. We know that if we play our role, your businesses will thrive and you will employ people. And this has happened as the quarterly GDP results have shown. And that's why I've said you must broadcast more of these your meetings. I'm sure that large members of the public will be surprised to hear your president quoting GDP figures. They probably don't know that you talk about it. I'm not surprised because you are businessmen. But the image out there is your trucks and your drivers. And there's a need to burnish that image a little more. But what have our investments done? It has given us an operational capacity now where we are constructing over 13,000 kilometers of roads and bridges. We have finished over 8,000 kilometers, and the taste of the pudding is in the eating. Those of you who drive on them now see the difference. Your drivers, I'm sure, will tell you that the roads are better today, and even you have acknowledged it. And you must see some difference in your maintenance costs. And you will also see the difference in the number of trips and hire for your trucks that have multiplied from 2016 to date. I have data, government data, which shows that from 2015, the number of sand dredging companies have increased from 228 to 302 in 2022. So that's a 35% increase in sand dredging operation. While granite quarrying companies have increased within the same period from 335 to 655, a 95% increase. And laterite quarrying companies increased from 132 to 259, another 96% increase. The real beneficiaries of these increments are NATO and their allies. You don't want to claim it. When we did our recent, because when we build roads, we don't stop at building roads. When we open the roads, our ministry goes back to go and do impact assessment. That's why you will see us sometimes interviewing your drivers. We want to know how this investment is working. If I make a pair of shoes for you, I want to know whether it fits. I want to know whether it hurts you on your small toe. So we do that feedback, and the results have been very, very, very interesting. So during a period of that, and also with our construction companies, we take feedback How much bitumen did you use? How many tons of cement? How many tons of reinforcement? Because this is the real economy. How money is moving across our country. And these are not foreigners. It's Nigerians who are doing the quarrying, who are doing all of this. So let me just give you some figures. Bitumen, for example, in the period under review, we moved 248,000 tons of bitumen. You know what that represents? 822 truck trips. Who is the beneficiary? We moved diesel 114.78 million liters in 3,478 truck trips. Who is the beneficiary? We moved 8,000 tons of reinforcement in 269 truck trips. Who benefits? We moved 76,000 tons of cement in 2,556 truck trips. Who benefits? NATO don't chop inside, Abi. Up NATO. Service to the nation. Up NATO. These are impressive numbers, but we are just beginning. The best of this is still yet to come. 1.9 trillion is coming into this economy. So begin to calculate how many truck trips, how many tons of diesel, cement, and all of that is going to move. It was approved last week. So, as some people used to say, you ain't seen nothing yet. But I don't come from that part of the world. I'm Niger through and through. But these are businesses for your drivers, for yourselves, for your families, for your employees. You have seen the 2015 investment climate in your business, have you not? And you have now seen the post-2015 investment. And you have seen what is on the horizon. It is yours to choose, and it is yours to throw away. In another 4 weeks, you will have an opportunity to make that choice. If you want to applaud, somebody is doing krukre. But I will soon be done, trust me. You know, I told you about impact assessment. On the completed sections of our roads, whether it is sections of the local Weto Bridge, sections of the Sokoto, Tambuwa, Jega, Kotambura, Makera Road, sections of the Kanu, Maiduguri, Newe, Duma, Alesi, Uge, or wherever you see we are making progress. The survey shows that your travel time for your trucks and your drivers is reducing by over 50%. If we are saving you time, and if time is money, what are we giving to you? Is it not money? Do you claim it? So you may not be politicians. Sometimes you pretend not to be. But politics has impacted your business. So don't vote for me. Vote for your business. Vote for your employees. Vote for your families. Vote for more truck trips. Up NATO. Service to the nation. Up NATO. Vote for your business. But our work is not finished. As we build the assets, we also have to protect them. We have developed policies that ensure that trucks are not overloaded. My first appeal, therefore, in this area is to undertake some more self-enforcement within yourselves, within your allies like PTD, within your allies like NURTW. If you self-regulate, really and truly, why should FRSC or NSCDC or any of the bodies be chasing you around? if you professionalize. You will be your own internal policeman, able to sanction one another. And you will need, and that's the best discipline, really. Because somebody once told me that the greatest and the best discipline is self-discipline. I'm not saying you are indisciplined, but I'm just saying that if you take ownership of these rules, and I will give you a few reasons why. If the roads get bad, who suffers? Whose businesses suffer? So why is it not in our collective self-interest? I see a former minister, my colleague, is now one of you. Maybe I will join too. But I have to get truck. So we want you to self-enforce the weight regulations and axle regulations. We have shared this with you on several forums. The president is determined to enforce this from loading points. But one of the things we hear is that when they enforce at the loading points, especially for PMS, once your drivers get out, they transship again. They are not helping you because it will translate to maintenance costs for you later. As the roads give way under very extreme axle load pressure, it is a danger to your business. So as businessmen, you must stand up now in your own self-interest. I also want to appeal for safety on our roads. Some of us have spoken about it. I have received, I believe, the November report from FRSC. I have not read it. But the October report gave me cause for concern. The incidence of road traffic crashes is perhaps the biggest epidemic and threat to our collective safety that we haven't paid attention to. We have other things that we speak about every day, insecurity, and there are serious issues. But in 1 month, in the month of October, we lost 449 people to road traffic crashes in 1 month. That's a lot. And I don't say it is truck owners or truck drivers alone, but it contributes. There were 1,000+ crash incidents. In that period, 449 lives were lost. 2,780 people were injured. We can do better than this. And my appeal to you is to take leadership, professionalize this industry. Driving. We can't just give the truck to anybody anymore. It's not a toy. It's an equipment. So all the people who want to operate a truck must be properly trained, standards set by you in consultation with FRSC and all of the regulatory agencies, and they must pass and have a certificate. It's a profession. It's a profession by which families raise their children. I am a truck driver. You see them across the world. So that must be our aspiration. I am a truck driver. Don't you like those things we see in the movies? Why can't ours be like that? It's only because we don't aspire to it. Because I know if we set our minds to it, if NATO decides, NATO can do it. So without all of the uncertified people, and those who have not been certified are not necessarily useless, but they must go through a training process. Create your own certification and standards. Let FRSC approve it. So anytime they catch anybody in a truck that is not licensed according to, then he faces the law. So I won't dwell too much on that. I think the point is made. But in terms of safety also, we must understand that the maximum speed limit on our roads is 100 kilometers, not 100.1 maximum. For a professional driver, this should be easy to comply with. But I want to appeal to you again on behalf of Nigerians to stay within that speed limit. Stay at 90. Stay at 80. Even stay at 60. You will get there. As you say, the roads are getting better, not so. So what is the cause? What are you reasoning for? Because those articulated trucks are difficult to control when they lose control at high speed. And any professional driver must know this. And of course, as part of protecting our road, I think that between NATO, PTD, and URTW, before the end of this first quarter, I think we would like to see you decide that the shoulder of the road is not a mechanic workshop, and ask all your members to leave the place. Every time they are discharging diesel and engine oil to the shoulder of the road, they are spoiling your business. Do you understand it?
Yes.
I'm not sure. Don't people there understand it? Okay. Even if you do, let me explain it. We build the road from the sub-base, not so?
Yes.
And then we add the stones and the laterite. And what do? We compress. Then we add the concrete cement, not so? Then the asphaltic binder. What do again? We compress. All of those processes leading up to the bituminous layer, are they not carbon products? So you now pour petrol. Is it not a solvent? So everything we have compressed, you are now dissolving. And you expect the roads to last. In your own best interest, I think you better call action very quickly and get rid of all of those places. NATO is too big not to have regional, statewide, zonal workshops, towing facilities to say if a member breaks down, go and retrieve him from this place to the nearest place. It is not impossible. I'm sure FRSC came after you were born, not before. You were existing before FRSC. Okay. FEMA came after you. Go and look at the operational models. You can learn a thing or two from it. Perhaps the most important point I want to make about safety. We drive on the right in Nigeria. Not so? Please, I want to beg of you. One of the resolutions I will be most delighted with, and Nigerians will be most delighted with at this AGM, is a resolution that no truck driving on a highway must be seen on the left side of the road. You want me to repeat that? No truck driving on a road must be seen on the left side of the road. The left side of the road is the fast lane. It is the overtaking lane. All over the world, if you go, you see trucks on the right. If you pass that resolution and ask FRSC to enforce it, you will have contributed significantly to safety on our roads. So I have talked about voluntary compliance. The only other matter I think this AGM deserves an update on is our tolling policy. As you know that we have passed a tolling policy. Currently, if we apply that policy, about 14%, 1/4 of the over 200,000 kilometers of Nigeria's road network will be subject to tolling. So 14%. Is that too much? You keep quiet. Is that too much? So, before we made this policy, we consulted with all the stakeholders, including your members. And some of you who attended that meeting, I think it was during COVID restrictions, we did it virtually, some came. So, and I recall that you made a contribution. The very responsible organization you are, 7th of July 2021, you addressed a letter to me after the stakeholders conference. And I will quote part of what you said in your letter. And this is it, quote, "I wish to start by commending you for organizing the recently held executive stakeholders consultation on federal roads and bridges tolling webinar. This was the President NATO to my office. And it continues, quote, NATO strongly supports government efforts to reintroduce tolling as a veritable alternative of generating revenue to fund road maintenance and management. More importantly, NATO says, quote, we look forward to the reintroduction of the tolling policy, end of quote. And your president and I have been having an aside on it. So your suggestions in that letter were incorporated into the policy approved by the Federal Executive Council. So the tolling policy of Nigeria today has your input and that of other stakeholders in it. That's what we passed. So ladies and gentlemen, while some people see way bridges and toll plazas as mere government enforcement efforts and as revenue collection, what I see are more jobs, new economic opportunities for old and young who will operate these facilities, and part of our commitment to make a better life and create prosperity. Before I conclude, your president and I have been having a side discussion about your truck renewal challenges. And I've said that if I see a plan, we can find a solution. I think that we have done something similar in Lagos when we renewed all the trucks of our waste operators with brand new trucks. Government supported them. Within 18 months, they all fully paid for brand new trucks, and the trucks became theirs. It's a smaller undertaking than what you want to do, but the principles are the same. If you can do small things, I believe that we can do big things. So I urge you all to see this bigger, better, and clearly positive picture as you deliberate at this annual general meeting, and I wish you all very happy and fruitful day. Thank you very much.